And also the management of the taverns. It's good to have a tavern, but it needs to be managed properly. And it might, for me, it might be better that you close your tavern 12 o'clock, because thereafter it should be a cleanup. That you don't sit with people that are under the influence of liquor, they cannot protect themselves, and they become easy targets. So it's one of the things. But in terms of, I was highly motivated. Maybe even after retirement, I may go back to the police to work with the Premier, because the Premier here understands exactly, and this is what we were saying when we were provincial commissioners, to say, give us resources. And he's correct. The police are totally under-resourced. And it pains you, especially if you're an ex-cop, to see how does it happen that we cannot deal with the situation on the ground. Because the issue of safety is for the police. But we are there to support the police. That's why we are part and parcel of E2 project. E2 project is where all the security companies gather information on the ground, and through the radios, that information is quickly dispatched to your 10-1 there in Flying Squad at Brixton. And the police officials are able then to dispatch their vehicles, deal with that information. And for the first time when we implemented E2 project, we were able to reduce the levels of crime in Gauteng. So I think now with the beginning of the new Premier, maybe we need to go back, Brigadier Kruger and the other security forces, to say, how more can we help the police in Gauteng to do better? But whatever you need, as Bidvest Protea Coin, Sikona. Yeah, Sikona and a city, buying it out. What shoots out?
Colonel. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to send my word of appreciation from our Premier, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi. Let me all recognize all the members that are here from the police side, security side, and the traffic side. I am Colonel Mukwena, commonly known as Colonel Klengi from DPCI. I'm the section commander of operational team of the DPCI, Directorate for Private Crime Investigation, the one that commonly known as the Hawks. Our mandate presently, we are running on the cash in transit heist. We are running on the tracing of most wanted suspects. We are running on the most wanted fugitives, business robberies, hijackings, and part of our mandate is covering the escort of most dangerous suspects from one prison to court, from court back to prison. Our investigators that have been targeted at court, we are escorting them to give them safety when they are at court. Before I say much, I just want to say thanks to the license the Premier gave us today. You know, if you're a foot soldier on the ground, there's so many challenges that you are facing every day. But lucky enough, from our side, we have that assistance of the so-called security companies that we have been utilizing the past 5-6 years. And we've been successful because of these guys. I have few companies just to mention that they've been running with them for the past 5-6 years. Bidvest Coin Security, Bad Boy Security, Visual Tactical Security, and Tracker SA. Good people, whatever the presentation that the Premier gave us today, we have been running late because of the gadgets that are not within our department. That is why I'm saying thanks to the license the Premier gave us today. We have been utilizing these guys of the security on all the gadgets. You can name them, either the tracking, either the drone, either the LPR cameras, all those feedbacks, we are getting them from the private security companies. So our seniors that are here, I'm here with my provincial head, General Kadwa, of which I need not to intimidate my seniors. I'm hoping that when you arrive back, the message will be clearly reported to our seniors. Gentlemen, to work in this field is a challenge. Point number one, when you talk about cash in transit, we just like to see it on the videos. And when you see it on the videos, you'll just see people taking videos. After explosion, you'll see our fellow brothers and sisters rushing to that cash van. That's the challenge that we are facing every day. First point on the cash in transit is illegal firearms. Secondly, is illegal explosives that have been used there. Thirdly, the bigger challenge that I think in Gauteng they need to also add to resolve the involvement of our neighboring countries, brothers, the foreigners. I will put it clearly to say, in most crime scenes, that's where we engage them daily with firearms. They don't hesitate to shoot. They don't care when they shoot, because identities are known in South Africa. That's what I want to also ask the Premier to add on. And then secondly, on my plea to the Premier, to see how the Premier can link our justice system with our police system. Why? Because we, as the police, we are the foot soldiers on the ground, arresting guys from the crime scene of the cash in transit, putting the docket on the roll via the gap between the justice system and the police system. Our suspects, 1 day, 2 days, are out on bail. Some of the suspects, he's on bail 7 times, 8 times. Our Premier, is my plea to you to link up the justice system and the police system to work as a one person. We've got a problem there. And then shortly there was a presentation here about the fingerprint reader. I don't know which company presented that. I also need to know the product. Is it only reading the South Africans or every individual within the country? I will need to have a clarity on that. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'll be seated here on the podium to elaborate more. Thank you.
Hi, General. There won't be questions. Everyone else might have spoken, but there's one element that is missing in the discussions. So there's something I'm going to ask you to do while the community is coming to speak. Each one of you, just in a few seconds before we wrap up the discussion, what do you see are the gaps in all what has been presented here? And where do you see yourself in resolving those gaps? The government has told you, this is what we want to do. Where do you see yourselves onto that? Do you see yourselves as service providers, as partners? Can we create a mutually beneficial kind of a strategic partnership between ourselves here? So please prepare those. General, when a colonel, at some point we will need to know, how is this intelligence information that has been presented here supporting your work? Hopefully NPA, I'm sure, is here, so that they resolve some of the lead time questions, but not now, General, not now, Colonel, when we are done. Dr. Masilele.
Program Director, thank you very much. The Premier of Gauteng. First Masheshis, Premier. We appreciate the time and taking care of the MECs and the new fighting machine, MMC, of public safety in Johannesburg. Pella, you know, if you fight crime in Johannesburg, we have done crime in the province. So thank you, fighter, for coming and then to listen, but also to make some impact. The police, led by General Kumar, Now, all protocol observed. The important thing that one has to talk to today, I think Premier has said a lot, the commitments. Premier, I must just mention to you that it's no longer a dream, it's happening. It's a reality. I also attended my first drone class last week, Thursday, so, so it's so interesting. But what is important is that all this technology that we are putting in place, if there's no community mobilization, is as good as useless. And we need the participation of the communities. But we know what is our challenges. The service providers here, the technology friends of ours that are here that have presented, all of them, they are talking about what are the possibilities. And we're saying, let it not be a possibility, let it be a reality. We have an issue, social ills, and that there's a part that I didn't hear it properly, but I would want us to discuss more on that. TISH, the Township Informal Settlement, Hostels, and General Mpembe. If you're not talking to that, you are not talking about crime. Forget, you get nothing from this. I'm being brutal about that because some of the crime is manufactured in these areas, but some of the victims will come from these areas. If you're not prepared to work in informal settlements like what Memes has been doing for the past couple of years, what they have done with their panic systems, then you're at the wrong place. But let's talk about the community's participation and make sure that we understand this so that we can walk and walk with you. I was talking to the MMC while we were walking outside. I said, government cannot be beaten by security companies in terms of technology. It can't. We can't outsource the responsibility of government to protect its citizens. We want to work with security companies. We love them very much. They bring all the technology. They keep us on our toes. But we must make sure that at all times, the technology that they bring finds a space in our doings and find a space in our daily lives. If you have listened yesterday on the crime stats, and obviously we're still going to break it down to Gauteng and so forth, community mobilization and community activation, whether you like it or not, it plays a very important role. And sitting with some of these volunteers, Premier got 15,600 patrollers in this province under community safety. Brigadier Joseph here uses our patrollers from time to time, and he can tell you about successes. But we're also excited about the 6,000 that the Gauteng Government of Gauteng has decided to bring into the port. Can you imagine if all of us, including these kids here, we can be crime conscious? Just be crime conscious. Know your neighbor, know your surroundings. Don't take videos when there's an incident that has happened. Easy moral regeneration of how you want to raise your kids. Simple things. Look after your neighbor, look after your brother, look after the weak before it even comes to the police. So, technology people, I'm excited that you are telling us all this information. Ricky, you are telling us that the cameras will be all over the place. I see in some areas, including my area where I stay, I see the fiber in all these areas. But what is important is that I want to talk to the community policing board that is sitting here. You lead this province in Gauteng. How do we protect the infrastructure? Because if we put this infrastructure and then it gets also distracted and vandalized, it will never serve the purpose. Brigadier, there was a time at some point you spoken about economic infrastructure task team that was supposed to have been launched by the SAPS. We need to look at that at some point. But I'm looking forward for the discussions. I'm looking forward to have partnerships. We're looking forward to talk to your pockets because we have money, obviously. Prima, they have money, don't worry. We will be actually engaging in seeing, so they're not here to milk government because that's not going to happen. They have their budget. But thank you very much for the opportunity. We'll talk.
All right, thank you very much, Brigadier. From the discussions, maybe at some point there must be an engagement between yourselves and the community. We really need a community perspective on what exactly is the community going to do to support this particular initiative. Without communities, this is useless. Without their support, this is useless. So we need practical things, specific things. Perhaps in the next session, amongst themselves as partners, that would come out. Brigadier, what do you think the SAPS is going to do to pursue integration on this program? And which are the areas do you think that we would partner with all of these colleagues here? No? You have a mic. You know, Bantu education problems. You've got a mic there. Press it.
Thank you, Program Director. Premier, I must say it's indeed encouraging sitting in a meeting like this to have a leader stand up and talk the way you talk to us today. Something we've been waiting for a long time, and the fact that it makes sense that at the end of the day, this team should not be bullied. We should not allow nobody to bully us. These young children here from Noordgesig School that I had the opportunity of speaking to this morning are, at the end of the day, the future of this country. And as their teacher said, they aspire to be like us. And it makes us proud to come to Soweto, to this school in Noordgesig, a community that I served for over 30 years of my life, and see the community patrollers still found on the streets, to see these young children, to see the CPF members that are here, that are still serving these communities, and to understand one thing. We got to go back and look at where we went wrong. And when we look at where we went wrong, I believe our intelligence to bridge one of the gaps is the most fragmented at the moment. Our intelligence that comes from our communities, the community-based intelligence from block level, from street level, from your sector level. What do we do with that intelligence? At the end of the day, do we share it? Do we then plan combat around it? Or do we just wait for bigger things to happen? If we do not deal with the smaller things on the streets that are taking place, it's great for us to have a vehicle recognition, the number plate recognition system that picks up vehicles on the highways. But why don't we have facial recognition of that drug dealer that's selling drugs at this school to those kids? Why don't we have that? Because that is where we must start. Because when you don't remove the drug dealer, the kids become your car thieves. So if we look at the chain and look at the basic system of policing, there's no way I can police without the community. There's no way it will ever happen. The Gauteng Community Policing Board is very, very strong. It's very, very structured, and it's very, very diverse. In that team, I believe that anything that comes from them that we look at will, at the end of the day, support this province. The fact that we must get community-based policing looked at it differently and start using the intelligence that we receive, put out the early warnings, deal with what we get from the communities, throw it in a bundle, and have an operational response to it. Then comes the technology. That technology will assist us in ensuring the places that are identified are policed correctly, and there's a response, and there's an early warning to what is happening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Theo, what's your take?
Testing.
No blood pressure.
Testing. Okay, thank you. I think that the gap that you've analyzed and identified is absolutely accurate. From our perspective, I believe that adding technology to enable what the Brigadier has just suggested, by perhaps looking at bringing, where possible, responders or law enforcement or vetted members of the community within the CPFs could become part of the response network into our panic system, which is powered by the Aura technology system. So at the moment, there's approximately 1,000 odd responders within Gauteng. It's private security. We've added some vehicles of GPG medical. There's devices, and it's a smart cell phone, as has been mentioned earlier. If it's private security or law enforcement, I believe that we could even fund putting the devices in the vehicles and provide data. And then those members of law enforcement or private security that are not on the network will also receive some type of remuneration or facilitation for if you respond to 20 alerts. There's financial reward given back to whichever department that responds to specific alerts. For CPFs, if we can bring CPFs on board, it's a lot of people, but it would be unarmed response. And those CPFs, for example, could benefit by having them on the Panic app as responders. Then it's a force multiplier into the province. I think that could work very well.
Maybe one of the things that, maybe one of the things that while the Premier is here, that Chairperson, you may need to possibly think about is how we are going to work with SAPS and the provincial government to deal with the administrative arrangements of CPFs. For them to meet this challenge, to partner, to work with this high-level technology, we need to strengthen their administrative arrangements. So when that time comes, you will indicate. General?
Yeah. Maybe just to come in on the issue of the CPFs. In terms of the CPFs, they should a long time ago have been integrated into the municipalities, because the municipalities have got a budget. They're supposed to be operating from there, in order that if there is a domestic issue that is taking place in the informal settlement, they are being accompanied by a police official and the problem gets resolved there on the spot. And that's how also they can be able to gather intelligence. So that is not happening, and I think maybe, Premier, it needs to be encouraged. Maybe you need to engage the Minister of the Police and the provincial commissioners to get that implemented.
So what do you see as the role of Bidvest into this partnership?
Well, in terms of partnership, we are already involved in terms of E2 project. We part and parcel. We're represented at the Flying Scout in the...
What's lacking now?
I think what is lacking now is intelligence and technology. The Premier spoke about technology. Now, technology gets monitored and is being managed by human beings. Now, it should be committed human beings, dedicated people. In other words, it should be people that are having the spirit of patriotism.
And what would be the contribution, the company contribution towards resolving that thing?
Well, you need, I think my colleague here touched earlier on the issue of screening. So you need to go head hunting, especially when it comes, Premier, to intelligence. You need to get people that are not going to sell out, especially when they are monitoring that technology. They should not be able to give that information out. It should be information that will be utilized to get the perpetrator on the ground. Yeah, and then lastly, in terms of that, you need also the police and the private security industry. They cannot alone be successful in terms of preventing crime. You need NPA. Now, NPA also, you need people that will think almost like the police. And the suspects should not be easily granted bail. We're talking here the issue of gender-based violence. But suspects, they're walking outside. The suspects that we have arrested in terms of Transnet pipeline, number of them are walking outside and they go back again, commit the very same crime. So somewhere in terms of justice, I understand that the judges and the magistrates have got to be independent, but they live in this country. They know what is happening in these communities. Otherwise, if we don't get it right, the communities are there, but if the law enforcement agencies cannot get it right, they will do it on their own.
Vic?
Perfect, thank you. I think our role as a platform is really to pull the various parties together. So it's really that coordinated effort in terms of the fight against crime, where you've got, I think there's 11,500 security companies registered in South Africa, and everyone's trying to do everything in isolation. So unless you can get to a coordinated platform approach that you can, get your foundations correct, you're not going to, everyone's going to continue tripping up and trying to solve the same problems that everyone's trying to solve. And I think for the first time, as the private sector, we've heard the public sector now talking to say, let's fight together. And that's really encouraging. And I think, that gives us a lot of encouragement. What is our contribution as a private company? We've invested over, 700 million rand into the cities. We've committed to cameras that have gone into underprotected areas. We're putting cameras at underprotected schools. I think the first 25 schools with our Eyes and Ears initiative has gone live. This is our commitment as a private sector. And if we can, accelerate that and we can bring the public and the private together, I think we can really achieve great results.
Okay, thank you, Mkulu.
Take this one, Bob. Take this
Hello?
one.
Got it. No, thank you very much, facilitator. I think the question was saying that what do we think you as service providers, but also what is our role? So, Premier, you remember there used to be, and there still is, Gauteng City Region. We have decided and agreed that we should create a Gauteng Safer City Region, where you can then plug all these technologies, where you can talk to technology that will talk to certain people. We all know we live in an unequal society. Technology you are using in town, or in Sandton or in Bedfordview will never be the same as the one you're going to use in Zonke Zizwe. So you need to be fair, but also in trying to fight crime, you need to make sure that you bring this technology that we are seeing here. Most people here in Soweto will be saying to you, yes, you have brought the helicopters and so forth, but let's also groom the township guys that are here, Gerald Pempe. Let's make sure that the security companies that are here in Soweto are also given a space, but they're also working. And you talk about township economy.
All right, colleagues, there's a few things that I think you agree. The one is that there must be an overarching strategic partnerships agreement amongst yourselves and government, everyone else together. Generally suggesting that let's bring in the Department of Justice as well, so that we deal with the lead time of cases, but also manage the problem of these people coming out and doing crime again, those ones. So the second area of partnership is research. I think that's another agreement around research and development. I think the cross-pollination, what I call cross-pollination between yourselves and government on that area. The resource sharing issue, I think this part will be thrashed out in the agreement. Which resources are you going to share? To what extent is the command center that the province wants to create going to be utilized as a central repository of this information so that everyone else in the law enforcement agencies is able to access this work easily? There's a need, though. I do think that there's a heavy need that crime, the business of fighting crime, is not just about yourselves as law enforcement agencies. There's a role for social development. There's a role for sports, arts, and culture. These kids demonstrated it. The question of value system. They were called flag hosting. The essence of that is about building a particular value system in our society. And I think that there's a need for the partnership to move beyond just the community safety department. The Premier's office, I suspect, will lead this partnership for purposes of ensuring that it permeates through other provincial government departments here. So that's it, colleagues. For us, we will further develop this relationship into actionables and see each one of you what can they put forward for purposes of making things work. how do we support the city of Johannesburg? In Alex, the cameras are not working. In Tembisa, we don't have cameras. For Sloras, we have some. Springs and all of that stuff. So how do we work with municipalities as well to make sure that we strengthen the entire fight against this? You are right, Fanam. Gauteng is very cosmopolitan. It is Africa. It's not just a province. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. The next activity will be the head of department, Mamusulu. I do not see her. Yeah, no, we're done. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Oh, you want to speak? I avoided this thing deliberately. No, wait. I avoided it deliberately because I didn't. Yes, all right. Can I get the mics down there? Okay, you're number one. Okay, we'll start here. Just a few questions, 5 only, if we agree. We'll start with you, Ngokel. And Emva Wakone, you will be number 2. Number 3, Tata. We'll come to this side. Can you give him the mic? No, that one. Okay. Hey. Okay. Sharp.
Sanbona nonke. All protocol observed. Uthemba lo ukhumalo from the Federation for Sustainable Development Goals and Imbomba Business Association. I will have a question and comment.
Sure.
My first question, why La Phambili we don't have a black-owned private security entity sitting and be represented in this discussion? That's my first question. Why we don't have a black-owned private security company sitting here today addressing Abantu Bar? Second question, why did all of these retired police officers, generals, and everyone did not empower SAPS? Ngama system were intelligent in order with the SAPS yethu infrastructure yabo ibe strong within SAPS, because we've seen the fashion whereby these retired officers, they come with lucrative solutions, but outside the department. Immediately when they retired, knowing very well what is it that we need as the SAPS. But now my solution now create a private sector. And from the side of the private sector, they become service providers again. They procure all of these systems from Google, the very same police officers about retired. From procure equipment, they become food a service provider on the ground. They're running all of these tactical units on the ground again. They're excluding Abotak. This group, Abakuluma Ngayola, our neighbor were Tesanti. They know very well, Gucci, we are providing the very same services. We have the same resources. We've invested billions, if not millions, as Abotak with the very same infrastructure. If you can go to our offices as blacks, can I finish?
Yeah.
Because it's still a question. Still a question then. Because we have the same resources. But the solution is going to be provided. And then you feel which we're not going to have a resistance on the ground. So we request a round table, a fair, so that we're going to interrogate everything. The country, ngeke ihambe sisesekhona sisaphila. The SAPS ngeke demolishwe is the very same officers bayothatha stake ku private sector. The question amaqina engifuna ukuyibuza. Right? Is Ivuma Cam is going to be the only entity as a provider is security in South Africa. Does that say aguna national threat ekhona in South Africa? Bekuthi nithi South Africa iyogadwa ingamla zangaphandle or kanti zize la South Africa zicreate ama solution wethu la South Africa. Nikhuluma ngeibhamu zamaphoyisa. Yokuthi kumele ukuthi ziklike zenzeni sibizeni etafuleni so that sibe ne debate about this. Ningafiki la elokishini and provide solutions while there's people who are existing nama solution.
Okay. All right, we heard you. Thank you very much. Colleagues, can I say something here? Gauteng government came here to introduce what is called e-policing. The primary reason for them to be here was to discuss with stakeholders, open a platform for stakeholders to say this is what we are doing on our corner, and this is what some are doing in their corner. And the purpose of all of that was to say, how do we integrate those things and make them work together? There is a different platform for certain things which the department normally deals with. So that's the primary reason why I avoided having questions and comments from the floor on this, because we've received commitments from these partners about what is going to be done to support this from local and everywhere else. So I'm going to have to limit those questions to this specific activity that we are really talking about. I am a moderator. I will not be able to answer some of the questions that are here because I do not know them. So, Grootman, you talk to the subject matter. How is the community going to help us, deal with this problem, this initiative? Otherwise, the meeting will not end because it's not a public community meeting. It's a meeting of stakeholders to discuss e-policing. No. Baba, give this mic here. I'm still dealing with this side of people. Please.
Greetings to everyone. Please allow me to say all protocol observed. My name is Gauteng Government. I come from the city of Ekurhuleni. I am the founder and chairperson of an organization called the South African Youth Crime Fighters. So when we saw this poster, we were very excited to come here because when you talk about technology, you are talking to the youth of South Africa. We know everything about technology, especially so when it comes to gadgets. These are our toys. So we had ideas on how we can help fight crime using technology. So I'm worried about the young people who are not being given a chance to sit on the podium and also address when it comes to fighting crime using technology. The young people of this country have decided to disrespect the law of South Africa. We have young people selling marijuana in schoolyards, which shows that there's no awareness when it comes to youth, dealing with crime. Let us use the platforms that are there for technology to deal with crime, addressing the youth. Number one, which is social media. High-profile people like Casper Nyovest, our artists, we follow their moves, we follow their steps. How can we allow them to use technology-based gadgets like social media to address crime in Gauteng?
Sure.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, my brother. That is a typical contribution we're looking for. That is a typical contribution we're looking for, colleagues. Tata, you are the last one this side. Don't answer them. We just need to finish this session.
Thank you, program director. Thank you to all the VIPs here. My name is Lloyd Kumalo. I come from Hekpur. I see here, but there's an element, there's three things that worries me. First thing, it's internal when we tackle the crime. we leave the people. If you can look, there was another program on TV. I don't know. They say it's I'll recall it. How many foreign and undocumented foreigners who are coming in South Africa, and there's nothing doing. There's nothing that is been done, and I think that SAPSA is doing its part very well with the community inside. But our borders are not manned. So how this problem is not going to be eliminated, because per day, per hour, per week, per month, per year, you can run away from South Africa. The other thing that is a question is, how are we going to protect this influx of foreigners to come inside here? Because I think it will be a fruitless exercise to fight inside, where else other people are coming with big guns inside our country.
Thank you, Ted.
And the second one is, to be honest, I'm not ravishing any person here, but private security industry, CIRA, let me say CIRA, it doesn't regulate its affiliation correctly, because of those companies, security companies, they are hiring undocumented foreigners, people who are not trained and people who are not trained. And yet they work hand in hand with SAPS. How can that be? It's very worrisome, truly. And last, it's a lament. I just want to lament, lastly, shortly, I'm sorry, with that 6,000 crime prevention warden, that's my lament. It benefited people that many that they shouldn't benefit, because now we've got patrollers. Suddenly now the people who have been fighting, who have the passion to fight crime, empty-handed, when they go back at their home, their children run into them, they don't have nothing. Those who were laughing at them and telling them that they are stupid, they will be killed for nothing, they are the ones who are benefiting now, because they've got matric, and the poor patrollers, they don't have matric. So this, it means that we must look to say that even if the people didn't have matric, they have passion to fight crime.
Okay.
They should have been taken on. Thank
All right.
you.
Okay, Tata, we will take the issue, MNC, of strengthening the oversight question around private securities. Maybe you will need a tete-a-tete with the regulator at that level. The issues of social media, yes, that's a positive. Yeah, so let's get, I thought the board, I thought the board had the chairperson here, and we were going to get from the different other persons, because the board is represented in the partnership. So it's easy for them to process their core issues which they want to process through here. And then give somebody else who does not have the opportunity to talk to all of these people that are here. Can we get that somebody, this side? I saw some hands this side. Yeah, CPF's members and everybody else is represented here. Yeah, Ebab, you want to talk? The equipment. Come nigga mic okay.
Sorry, for my side, it's the solution that they're using in the market for specific the body cams and also the cameras, LPR, face recognition, and all the equipment that is used within.
Speak a bit louder, or come to this mic.
I was referring to the equipment that is being used. Where are they getting from? Because on my side, we are a distributor for all the ICT equipment, meaning from LPRs, from face recognition, and also body cams. We have them in-house right now. We are located in Rodipo. The name of our company is called Distri, opposite Clearwater Mall. We have all the equipment. We are a local 100% distributor.
All right.
We don't have a footprint. We are a South African company. That's what I was saying.
Sure.
Thank you.
Someone will come to you now. So we are done, colleagues. Here and Usisi Ngemva. Yeah.
Okay, good day, everybody. My name is Joseph Seshabaka. I come from the community in Brixton, in Greater Johannesburg. In as much as one will welcome this exhibition or presentations by various security companies as Gauteng e-policy, I want to talk specifically on something that is close to my heart. That when Take Charge campaign started in 2007, there was one element that the workers in Gauteng...
Speak a bit louder. Hello. Speaking.
I just want to speak to something that is close to my heart. When Take Charge campaign...
Yes, Sondela with mics, but
okay.
We can't hear you. Your voice is like mine. We are not shop stewards.
I'm a worker anyway. When Take Charge campaign was launched in 2007, the workers in Gauteng, we organized ourselves under the department. And 3 federations, COSATU, FEDUSA, NACTU, we organized ourselves from part in the department, saying as workers, we want to be part of this system. So, but from time to time, the whole concept is diminishing. After each and every MECs, the whole Take Charge campaign loses its meaning. And it's a problem. I'm calling upon the department to say, I will appreciate that the very same federations, under mobilization, we mobilize the workers. The workers are cardinal part of the bigger society. In the events that we are not living, we are not taking them into account, we lose a picture.
Okay.
So we said we need Gauteng that to be self-policing. But if we leave the workers outside, then we're creating a vacuum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My sister?
Good day, everyone. My name is Rose Harrison. I'm from the community, activist, also leader. My biggest question is one. The foreign nationals that we have in the country, everywhere we go, they're living free. They do as they want, whatever. If we found police, even in the community of Noordgesig, because of irregularity stuff that happen here, the police take their own time to come. And the other thing is, I want to know what is the police going to do about it. If you go to CBD, Joburg, that place is packed with it, people. The last time I can remember 2 years back, when the police went out to go and fight, or how can I say, deport those people. They didn't get any luck on it because those people, those foreign nationals, they had guns and they also retreat. They shoot on our police officers, they had no respect. And also like for us, they take our jobs, they impregnate the women in South Africa and they get away with it. And secondly, I say they are the biggest crime makers in South Africa. They said, like you guys said, cameras will be put into places and stuff. But my question is the biggest question. How are government going to get rid of those people and deport them and get them back to their countries? Because they're staying illegal here. Okay. We're living under the under poverty line also in South Africa. They eat our food, they take our jobs, they make the woman pregnant here and they get away with it and nothing is done to it. So can we get the answer on that one?
Okay, colleagues, HOD, can you come over? All right, sis, thank you very much. We are going to give it to the HOD. The HOD will tell us what next from here. Some of the questions that were put here, we have converted them into the actual suggestions of what must be done. So there may not be a need for some of them to be responded to. This was the first of many, possibly many consultations that the department will do. And I am certain that wherever you are in the area, the department will reach you and respond to some of the things that have been said here. HOD, thank you very much.
Thank you very much to all of you who are still here. Sanbonani, Dumelang. Good afternoon. Isingese siyala ne. Yeah, kore indlala vele vele sikhwayile vele kuyazwakala asikhisini ne. Goeiemiddag allemaal. Hoe gaan dit julle? Goed ne? Julle sal eet no, moenie worry. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who is here. And I thought that the MEC had gone through a very long list of everybody who was here. But most importantly, I think I would like to also take the opportunity to understand that issue of safety and security is a very emotive issue. It's because in 2 seconds, you are alive, and after that, if you get a hollow point, you're gone. Right? So that's a bullet that just explodes in your body, and you're done. Right? So I understand that. So it's important for us to just be cognizant and also be sure that we are able to assist each other in the process. My turnaround time is 24 hours. Hey, now, Premier, his turnaround time is 12 hours. So, colleagues, when we work, we want to work together within the regulations and quickly. That's where we are. So, I wanted now to go to the point where, what is the solution? How do we work together within the regulations quickly? So when you see me now, when I leave here, HOD means head of department. HOD, but my name is Nontsikelelo Sisulu. I do have a name. My name is Nontsikelelo Sisulu, and I'm head of department of community safety. If you see me and you have a solution that we can use quickly within regulations, please find me. With those few words, I want to thank you all. But like Premier said, on Monday, the State of the Province address, he'll be announcing this, that, and the other. And me now will be implementing. So I hope one of you will be amongst those who we are implementing with. Thank you. Oh, but I'm supposed to do now announcements. Oh no, food. Lunch is served. Must I say lunch is served? Excellent. That's course. That's course. Daarachter ukudla kukhona lapha emuva. Caterers ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngathi anikho ready ngiyangidawuthisa so labantu bani